Hi folks, a very warm welcome to the weekend. I trust that you've had a good week and that you've spent a decent chunk of it in a book, in a format of your choosing. Talking of which, what have I been reading this week? I finished Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky, one of two of his books that are out this year, possibly three actually. We followed Professor Anton Dardev, a xenobiologist who has been exiled, or rather sentenced, to hard time on Kiln, an exoplanet with a lush but seemingly incompatible ecosystem. The government back on Earth, the mandate, it is strongly hinted, is authoritarian and permits only an orthodoxy of thought in all walks of life. An undercurrent of revolution and civil disobedience runs deep, but the secret police spend their time rooting it out, sending the culprits off-world. The gulag to which Dardev is sent is harshly run. Grisly examples are made of people that step out of line or exhibit unorthodox thinking. I read Cage of Souls last month by the same author, and I was strongly reminded of that book whilst reading Alien Clay. There are several parallels, I think. An academic is sent to a labour camp for some perceived threat or insult to the authorities. The prison is isolated, it's run on harsh lines by a capricious warder, and the wildlife is weird and lushly described, and all is not as it seems out there. That nagging sense of familiarity bothered me quite a bit. I couldn't help feeling that Alien Clay was a bit of a retread, a facsimile, but worst of all, it just wasn't as good. I really enjoyed Cage of Souls, but Alien Clay left me a little bit cold in comparison. It's not true to say that I didn't enjoy it. I did, up to a point. There was quite a lot of world building, and that was very good, I think. The alien wildlife was well imagined and drawn with sufficient detail to give a good idea how it all worked. Some of the characters were also pretty good, but I think there was a distinct lack of plot, and what there was a wee bit predictable. Would I have enjoyed Alien Clay more if I hadn't recently read Cage of Souls? I think that's quite possible. The good news is that a bad Tchaikovsky book is still a good book. I liked it, I just didn't love it, unfortunately, which is a shame because the cover art is really beautiful. And that was it, just one book that I finished during the week, a little bit light duties really. I'm actually a bit concerned about the remainder of my TBR pile for this month. I'm beginning to strongly suspect that I won't actually finish it. So I'll need to prioritise to ensure the maximum enjoyment from what I do get read in the next 9 days. I did make several hours of progress through House of Suns on audiobook this week, but I still have over 5 hours to go, and I may well finish that tomorrow whilst hurling myself around the countryside on an all-day run. I also picked up Burning Chrome after I finished Alien Clay, which is a short story collection by a certain Mr. William Gibson. I'm about 2/3 in, and it's my first Gibson, and I'm really enjoying his style. I've been warned that he was a little bit uncompromising if you jump into Neuromancer, say, but I hadn't found that to be the case with these short stories. And that could be just because they are short stories and are just more consumable than a novel. We'll see. I will get to more Gibson over the coming months. I should finish this one over the weekend, and so more on this next week. What have you been reading this week? Anything you'd recommend? Do let me know in the comments. I always need more books to add to my near infinite TBR pile. Channel stuff next then. Subscribers are at 2,906, which is up 22 on last week. And if you're one of those 22, or if you've just stumbled upon my channel for the first time today, welcome to you all. I'm John. This is SciFiScavenger, and I focus on reading, collecting and chatting about science fiction books, old and new. Do have a browse of the back catalogue. There's almost 200 videos to choose from, and I can say that you won't be short of science fiction reading material. Comment of the week this week was from Sergio Renati, who hails from Argentina. I think that's my first Argentinian comment. He watched the 1950s video from a couple of weekends back and gave the Spanish titles for the books that he recognised, suggesting a couple more that I might have included. The 1950s was such a great period for science fiction novel writing. There's many more that I could have included. So much so, in fact, that I plan to do at least one follow-up video looking at the same era, possibly two. Let's take a look at what was on the channel this week. On Sunday, there was June's book haul video, quite a bumper intake of over 40 books with plenty of hardbacks, signed first editions, and a bunch of in the wild scavenging finds too. It's well worth a watch if you like a book haul and you haven't already watched it. Yesterday, there was a slightly random video of me covering some of my more collectible hardback books in plastic wrap. It's not terribly exciting, I'm afraid, and the internet agrees with me. Very few people have watched it. But still, I enjoyed making it. I'm enjoying covering my books. Give it a watch, at least for the first 5 minutes to find out how it's done. What have I watched this week? Quite a bit, it turns out, in comparison to recent weeks. Among my favourites were a double haul from Richard Rempel over at Vintage SF, whose channel is growing very nicely indeed. He's been on a road trip recently and had to break his resulting book intake into 2 haul videos. They're both well worth a watch, and there's some really great books in there. In a similar vein, it's well worth your time to check out this haul from The Book Report. He is a serious collector of vintage sci-fi hardbacks, and they're all pristine. Definitely worth a watch. I also watched Nikki over at The Obsessive Bookseller. There are a couple of videos from her this week. In fact, one looking at a challenge that she set herself to read some of the sci-fi on her shelf, some of which I've read, some of which I'd like to read as well. The other is a look at her reading during June, which I appreciated more for the way that she does her mini reviews, which are entirely free of plot spoilers and jammed full of her observations and feelings about the books that she's read or what she's excited to read next. And I think that I could learn a thing or two from how she does it. Lastly, I watched my friend Whitney over at Secret Source of Storycraft take a look at science fiction books that have been or will be published in 2024 that she's really excited to read. On the book buying front, I've ordered a couple more books from my US friend to cut across the Atlantic for me, and I continue to search for a couple of Asimov hardbacks, but no joy so far. I did take delivery of this special edition Broken Binding of Service Model, which is the new book from Adrian Tchaikovsky. And at the moment, that's actually the only book sitting on my to-be hauled pile. I may actually skip July from a haul point of view, as I'll be on vacation anyway, and I can do a summer one instead in mid-August. We'll see. It's entirely possible that I'll have some kind of book buying spree in the next 2 or 3 weeks. That very much could happen, to be honest. It certainly wouldn't be the first time. Looking ahead to the coming week, I'm very, very excited about Sunday's video, which will be a look at the many ways in which science fiction authors try to kill us all off. That's right, it's the end of the world, baby. I'm particularly partial to a good apocalypse tale, and there are 46 book recommendations in that video. It's epic. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I hope that you enjoy it too. At some point during the week, there will also be an interview with Christopher Rocchio, who's the author of the Sun Eater books, 3 of which that I've read this year and really enjoyed. Christopher and I spoke last night, actually, so the video is recorded. I just need to edit it and publish. So I think that will be out on Tuesday or maybe Wednesday would be my guess for that one. I really enjoyed chatting to him. He's a very interesting young chap. On the subject of interviews, I'm chatting to Adam Roberts on Monday evening. I'm busy collecting and reading his many books, and I'm very much looking forward to gently interrogating him. Do let me know if you have any questions you'd like me to ask him. That video will probably appear the following week. Reading wise, I will finish Burning Chrome and House of Suns, both of which probably this weekend. And of the 5 books left on my ambitious TBR pile, I think I will prioritise Vernor Vinge's A Deepness in the Sky. I doubt that I'll finish it, but if I do, then next I'll tackle Star King by Jack Vance, mainly because it's short enough for me to have a decent chance of finishing it this month. As always, thank you for watching, have a wonderful weekend, and until next time, goodbye for now.